What is going on, guys? Lucky Madman here. Comtos has dropped a new developer's note earlier on today. This is around the new Dimensional Hole update. So, you would have seen a video of mine recently, earlier this week, around Second Awakening teasers. But that was not all. They actually are creating a new actual area in Dimensional Hole called Lumel. Anyway, what we're going to do in this video, guys, is go through and review this complete Dimensional Hole update through the developer's note, and I'll give you guys my opinions on what I think as well on it. Okay, guys, so let's start off. So to start off, we would like to express our gratitude towards all your interest and support you showed during the World Finals. Thanks to the players who fought, blah, blah, blah. We were able to finish off with a success. Cool. We'll be back in 2020 with some more content. Okay, great. Now let's dive to the November developers note, new Dimensional Hole. Since our first Dimensional Hole update last June, we will be releasing the third dimension in the late November. So we should be expecting this either, it'll probably be midweek next week, if not Thursday, Friday next week. We're excited to share the Second Awakening monsters and other details, so read below. So new dimension, Lumel. The dimension that's about to open is called Lumel. It's a dimension where strong and powerful beastmen live. It's a rough and barren dimension with steep rocky mountains and pointed thorn vines. Please take a look at these images. And this is essentially going to be like the fighting areas. This one here is probably going to be fighting stage 1 and stage 2. This will probably be the boss fight area. Just looking at how they look. So, the details. Like other dimensions, Lumel consists of a Dimension Dungeon and Second Awakening Dungeon. Werewolf and Martial Cat are two new Second Awakening monsters. So, my guesses are completely wrong. It looks like, yeah, werewolves and martial cat. So we'll see what their skill sets are below, I think. More details will be provided later on in this note. Great, there you go. The entrance condition is 15 stars. So if you're aware of 20-star Battle in World Arena, which has been a Special League mode before, you will get the idea of how it works. For this dimension, the sum of default star grade of 4 monsters must be 15 star or less. So 4 monsters at 15 star or less means you can either use 3 5-stars, or 3 4-stars and a 3-star, or you can go 4 3-stars. So that's not too bad. Shouldn't be too bad. Should be interesting. It's always good. I'm glad they do stuff like that to really mix up each of the areas to make it a little bit of a change compared to every other PvE content. All right, here we go. So the next section is called the Secondary Awakening section. This is the one I'm most interested in. As we mentioned above, Werewolf and Martial Cat are new Awakening monsters. How cool does Jewel Town look there? That looks pretty badass. And then the Martial Cats look pretty cute too. They look cool. Werewolf with charismatic appearance and Martial Cat with charming characteristics. Okay, cool. Many of you will be curious about their Second Awakening skills. We've prepared the skills of a Second Awakening, one of each. Okay, so we've got the water and the light. Ooh, okay, that's not bad options. Alright, let's start off with the Martial Cat. So I'm going to read the Awakening and the Second Awakening first skill, then the second skill, then the third skill. All the passive, okay? So, Energy Punch of the Awakened version. Attacks with a spinning punch and it stuns the enemy for 1 turn with a 30% chance. The Second Awakening version, it seems like the only wording change is that it's 50% chance. So, a higher stun chance. She could be a CC machine now. Same with all the other Martial Cats. Chain Attack. Launches 2 consecutive attacks on an enemy. Inflicts damage and decreasing the enemy's attack bar by 25% with each attack. There doesn't seem to be a change in the wording for Chain Attack, so it's probably going to be the same. Head-to-head passive increases increases the chance of attacking with a critical hit by 50% if the enemy has no harmful effect on them. Now it says it increases it up to 100% if it's Second Awakening. And then it says attacks the enemy target one more time with Energy Punch when you attack with a critical hit on your turn. So it's like a double hit. Okay. That's pretty full on. So instead of being only a single hit chance to stun, it's a 2-hit chance to stun now with Martial Cats. Well, with this one, for example. I would be interested to see what sort of changes they make to the other ones, because that's a pretty big change. That's a lot of CC through the Martial Cats. Sounds pretty good. Makes them pretty usable, I think. Alright, so Eshia, or the Light Werewolf. Okay, so attacks the enemy with claws and disturbs the HP recovery by 1 turn. Hasn't changed in the wording for the Second Awakening. Predator's Cry recovers the HP of all allies by 15% each. And increases their attack speed for 2 turns. Okay. So what does this change? The change is it also increases attack bar of all allies by 15% in Predator's Cry. That's not bad as well. A bit of an attack bar increase is always something that you will never turn down as a buff. Massacre. So what's the difference in Massacre? Violently attacks the enemy 4 times to inflict damage proportionate to his max HP, and removes a beneficial effect. So it's got a 50% strip chance. The cooltime resets if the enemy dies. Okay, so what do we see? There is no longer a percentage chance to strip, because it says proportionate to his max HP and removes a beneficial effect with each attack. So there's no more percentage there. So it's got a 100% effective rate, which means it comes down to your accuracy. And then it says, if you successfully remove a beneficial effect, the damage inflicted by the remaining attacks will be increased by 20%. Wow. The cooldown time will reset if the enemy dies. Okay, that's very, very interesting. So, that's going to scale quite a lot. If it's 20% pure damage increase, that can deal a decent amount of damage. Let's say if it does 2,000 first hit, strips above. He'll do 2,400 next hit, strip above. Then he'll do like, what would it be? It would be doing like 2,800 and something. 2,880. And then it'll keep multiplying that way. So it can do a decent amount, but we're talking 4 hits, so it won't multiply too much overall. I think that's pretty cool, but I think the most important thing is looking at how their stats improve, because the main issue with 2 stars and 3 stars is the value of their base stats when they are max level. So let's see how much they've changed. So looking at his base HP, looking at Ashir first, it goes up by 330. That's not too bad. Attack goes up by 100. That's a big change. So that's going to be huge for him dealing damage. Defense goes up by 100 as well. That's big as well. Speed hasn't changed. Okay. Water Martial Cat, HP has gone up quite a lot. Gone up by about 15% almost. Attack has gone up by about 10%. Defense has gone up by about 12 or 13%. And speed has stayed the same. So, pretty big changes. Does this make him usable? I think we might see some Eshia out there now. Attack speed increase with attack bar gain plus a small heal it's pretty easy to rune up. Plus, as a single target strip, Eshia can be pretty nasty. With the base stats that he's got, it's not going to be too hard to rune with decent HP. Plus, with his base attack is still relatively low, but he's obviously not built to be he scales off his max HP. So I think we'll see some of these guys in the future. What I'm really interested in, though, is I want to know what they've done to Jultan, the Dark Werewolf, considering there's a lot of Laurens around. And I want to see what they've done with the LD cats. The Dark one we see is a bit of a pain in the butt to deal with in TOA. So I wonder what it's going to be like if they buffed her and see how strong of a buff it is on her. Okay, so that's all for the 2As, I think, at the moment. So the next section we'll be talking about is a Dimension Dungeon. So this is going to be the rune farming area in the Dimensional Hole area, the new boss area. He looks pretty nasty. But let's see what his actual skills are, okay? So let's scroll down. The new Ancient Guardian sure looks powerful, unbeatable. Okay, we'll see if he's unbeatable. These are the basic skills. It's got an Ancient Strike. It attacks all enemies and inflicts continuous damage for 1 turn with a 50% chance. This attack ignores all effects that resist death. So, any passives that block units from dying. So, like, Triana, Theomars. Well, does it block Theomars' Endure? It should be blocking Theomars' Endure. Anything that blocks or stops units from dying, even like Trassar skill and all that sort of jazz. Principle of causality. The attack speed increases whenever the Ancient Guardian or minion gets attacked from the enemies. The increased attack speed resets at the start of each turn. In addition, the attack power increases permanently when the Ancient Guardian gets a turn. Okay, so every time he gets a turn, he gets more attack. His attack speed goes up at the start of as his turn gradually goes up. Every time you move, essentially. The critical damage that the Ancient Guardian minions inflict will be increased by 200%. So they got 200% crit damage. And their attacks won't land as glancing. So they're either going to hit normal damage or they'll either crit you. In addition, the critical rate of the Ancient Guardian and minions will be increased by 25% per minion alive. So there'll be 2 minions, which means their crit rate goes up by 50%. So every time you take one of them out, the crit rate goes down by 25%. So that's worthwhile noting as well. In addition to these basic skills, the new Ancient Guardian will summon monsters, and each side combines the skills of the summoned monsters to create and use special skills. Pretty basic. They've done this in the other dungeons. They haven't disclosed Phase 2 and Phase 3, but we've got the monsters listed there. We've got the Fire Werewolf, Light Bearman, Dark Lizardman, Wind Martial Cat, Fire Beast Monk, and the Panda Warrior. So, reading the skill for Phase 1, recovers the Guardian's HP by 10% for each turn. That's a Fire Werewolf benefit. and recovers the HP of all allies by 100% if the Guardian attacks with a critical hit. So that's pretty big. So that's pretty much like Arman's passive, but Arman only gives 20% HP, I believe. So if he can heal the subs to 100%. So worthwhile tracking that, because that could be quite a pain in the butt to deal with. You might need to bring heal block or glancing debuffs to make sure you get through that phase. And yeah, so they've hit in that phase 2 and phase 3. We'll have a look at those at the end. We'll go through each of the monsters, so Dark Lizardman and the Wind Martial Cat, as well as Kuma and the Fire Panda Warrior, to see what sort of skill set they bring. Okay. Based on the basic skills and phase 1 special skills, it looks like summoners should be prepared against critical hits, as we said. It'll be great help to think about how to overcome Ancient Guardians' great critical hits and claim victory. Lastly, the following Ancient Runes will be dropped, so this is important to know. So it's going to drop either Vampire, Energy, Guard, Will, or Destroy. So, would I farm this? Vampire is the new set introduced. This could be a very interesting, I think this would be a very nice place to farm. So what we have now is we've got Despair as the 4 set. Let's go back and have a look. So we've got in here at the moment, guys, we have in Kazan, we have Rage in Kazan. In Elunia, I believe it's Despair, and now Vampire is brought out. Okay, so that's so putting out Vampire is a very interesting choice, but it's probably the most relevant choice, because they're not going to do Swift or Violent, are they? So those are the only sets left. So, well, there is Fatal still as well. Anyway, so Vampire is the next set introduced. Okay, worthwhile noting. So yeah, they refer back to the other update note to talk about the other dimensional hole area, like how the actual ancient runes, ancient grindstones, and gems work. So well, that's how you look. Then they end with saying, "This is all we have for today's notes. Please be aware that it's been written during development stage, and there might be some changes. What do you think about new dimensional update? Many of you thinking and discussing which monsters to compose for default 15 battle. What would the new ancient guardian skills be? Blah blah blah. Pretty much what we covered off in this video already." We were excited to see summoners while overcoming the dimensional entrance conditions and coming up with different kinds of decks. We are looking forward to see what people bring into these. We will do our best to develop and polish the new dimensional update, so please stay tuned. So they've got a week to tidy it up before it comes out. So, one thing I did miss, we'll talk about the type of elements that the new 2As will have, the levels. So level 5 will be Fire, and Martial Cat level 5 will be Wind. So remember that we can only use 15 stars worth of monsters. So you're going to have one of those. So you can bring pretty much 3 4 stars and either a Werewolf or Martial Cat into it. So that'll get you to your 15 stars. Werewolf stage, I feel like I might be trying out my Water Twins as well as maybe Fran for sustain. And then bringing in the Werewolf, because it doesn't matter what element, it's 15 star limitation. And then Martial Cat, I'm not too sure. I don't know if I'll farm it yet. I got to see what the skills are like. But I think Werewolves, I'm very tempted to see how Ashir... Like, Ashir looks good. I'm really tempted to see what Jultan looks like. But also, I'll post another video up when the actual details of all the monsters come out. And we'll talk about each of their skills then, I guess, in more detail. Alright. So, let's find out. Let's try guess what we think Phase 2 is going to be in terms of skills. And Phase 3 is going to be in terms of skills, okay? So we're going to look at Dark Lizardman and the Wind Martial Cat, and then the Fire Beast Monk and Fire Panda Warrior. So let's start off with the middle phase. So let's go into Dark Lizardman. So he should be over here somewhere. Dark Lizardman. Here he is. So his passive is increases the enemy's chances of landing and glancing it by 30% and counters with the 15% chance. Attacks all enemies dealing damage proportionate to his defense and inflicts continuous damage for 3 turns with a 50% chance. Attacks the enemy 2 times and weakens the enemy's defense. I think it's going to be something to do with his second skill or his passive. It might be increases his chance of landing and glancing. Combine that with the Wind Martial Cat. So we just scroll down and find the Wind Martial Cat. Chance of stunning, chance of landing 2 hits on the enemy, and decrease in attack bar. And then the passive. Gains 25% critical chance. Okay, actually, you know what? I think it's going to be the second skill of the Dark Werewolf, as well as the passive of the of the martial cap, because we noticed that the boss is always talking about crit damage or crit rate. You know, can't land his glancing hit. So this part kind of makes sense if it's this skill here. But we'll have to wait and see. So my guess is going to be the passive of the Wind Martial Cat and the second skill of the Dark Lizard Man. Now the other two monsters were Fire Panda and Kuma. So Fire Panda, I believe it's got something to do with Fire Panda's third skill. And Kuma's second skill. So Panda's third skill attacks the enemy 4 times and grants 1 harmful effect, either glancing, attack power decrease, attack speed. One of like a chance of each of those. So all 3 of those have a chance of landing 70% each. So I think that might be bumped up to 100. Combine that with Kuma's AoE silence. So it's going to be 4 debuffs that silence you, and you can't really cleanse anything. So might need to look at units that can cleanse. So probably Tetra maybe. But again, we'll have to wait and see what they actually come out with. So it's going to be pretty hard. By the sounds of the skill sets, it's quite variable. There's a lot of heals in stage 1. Stage 2, I'm predicting to be very damage intensive, and then stage 3, I'm kind of expecting it to be very debuff intensive. So, got to try and consider all 3 of those together, and then go from there. So, if you guys ever want to look at this yourself, it's in the media section on the developer's note already. Just click into it and have a read. If you guys liked what you saw in this video, guys, please hit that like button. If you want to see more of my content, please hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions about this update and would like my opinion, please leave it in the comments section below. Otherwise, I will see you guys on the next episode. See you guys and take care. Goodbye.